Hey horror fans, welcome back to another video on the Terror Talk channel where I give commentary on creepy stories and conspiracy theories. The music you hear I composed myself. If you're struggling financially like a lot of people are, check the pinned comment after watching. I have something that will help you out a lot. Now, let's get into it and have some fun.
I just graduated high school last year, which is when what I'm about to tell you took place. Easter has always been a fun time of the year for my friends and I, but not for the reason you think. We've outgrown those childish Easter egg hunts that everyone does when they're little, and I honestly cringe when my parents make me participate in one with my younger cousins. A few years ago, I can't remember exactly when, my friends and I created a fun twist on the typical egg hunt format and devised our own game. It's not really that special. It's basically just a mashup of manhunts and an Easter egg hunt. It's two teams like manhunts, but the seekers are also responsible for hiding and protecting a few eggs. If the hiders manage to capture all the eggs, they win. And if the seekers don't find all the hiders within a certain time frame, the hiders also win. There are some other dumb rules, like how the seekers can't be camping where any of the eggs are hidden, and stuff like that. But that's not super relevant to the story.
Have you ever made up a game like this at any point? Let me know in the comments below. And let me know if you have any creepy experiences or stories with playing games in your backyard or in a basement or anything like that, because I'm all open to hearing other people's creepy experiences relating to this kind of stuff.
It was the Thursday before Easter, and school was canceled the next day for whatever reason. So we decided to have a sleepover that night. It was me, Jake, Race, Chuck, Arthur, and Raz. Raz wasn't actually his real name. His last name was Razzie, but everyone just called him Raz. His family had the biggest house by far, so we'd always chill there. He lived in the middle of nowhere, and his backyard bordered a decently sized wooded area. Plus, his parents were out of town until Friday night, so we'd have the place to ourselves. We were just chilling, playing video games in his basement, when Chuck suggested we play manhunts. We were all down, so we rounded up whatever flashlights Raz had in his garage. We used a random number generator on Jake's phone to pick random teams, just to keep it fair and unpredictable. I was on a team with Chuck and Raz, and we were seeking. Jake and Arthur were hiding. Raz's mom had a ton of plastic eggs upstairs, so we grabbed a couple of them and all of us went outside. We'd played back there a bunch of times before, so we already knew the layout. The far boundary was the fence line, and the other edges were the creek and the back slope that ran down towards Raz's neighbor's horse pasture. We set timers on our phones to give the hiders enough time to hide, and us enough time to hide our eggs. Once 10 minutes passed, the game had officially begun. I should also mention that the sun had already gone down, but it wasn't completely dark out yet. Once the timer went off, we all split up to cover more ground. I veered left into a thicker patch of trees while Raz and Chuck went the other way. I kept my hand over my flashlight, just skimming the ground every few steps so that I wouldn't trip, but I mostly relied on the moonlight to see. The game was way more fun when you actually felt like you were sneaking around. And besides, if one of the hiders saw a flashlight beam coming toward them, they just book it. A few minutes in, I thought I saw something move 20 or 30 feet in front of me.
I feel like this is the perfect type of setting and setup or plot or whatever you want to call it for something scary to happen, right? Like you're playing this game in the backyard, it's kind of getting dark outside, and just look at what kind of environment that backyard is with all those trees and everything. Perfect setup for something creepy to happen like in some horror movie, right?
At first, I couldn't tell if I was imagining it, but then I saw it again. I instantly turned my flashlight off and froze in place. Someone was crouching behind a tree up ahead. Whoever it was must not have seen me, otherwise, they'd definitely have run off. They weren't moving, like they were trying to stay perfectly still.
I mean, that would be creepy in itself right there to see someone lurking behind the trees. Like, damn, that would be super creepy. I would want to get the hell in the house, but that's just me.
My first guess was that it was Race. He always picked spots close to the Seekers, thinking no one would expect it. I decided to try to get the jump on him. I crouched down a bit myself and started moving slowly, trying to circle around behind him. When I got close enough, I sprang forward and lunged at whoever was crouching there, tapping him hard on the shoulder and yelling, "Gotcha." But the second he turned around, I felt a wave of fear wash over me. It wasn't any of my friends. It was a grown man with slicked back hair and these wide open eyes, like he was on drugs. His clothes were all torn up and he smelled awful. I was so taken aback that I didn't even realize what was going on. Before I could react, he tackled me to the ground. I screamed as I hit the dirt, but before I could yell out again, his hands were around my throat. He was pressing down with all his weight, and in that moment, I honestly thought my life was over. I couldn't breathe, and I didn't have the strength to overpower him from that position. And then, out of nowhere, he stopped. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flashlight beam bouncing off the trees somewhere behind us. One of my friends must have been running towards us. The guy must have seen the light too, because he jumped off without saying a word, and straight up ran into the woods, disappearing almost immediately. I just laid there, gasping for air, still too stunned to move. A few seconds later, Chuck reached me, helped me up, and said he saw the whole thing. I wanted to chase after that guy, but Chuck told me that was an awful idea. So the two of us instead ran back towards the house. Chuck called the rest of the crew and told everyone to go back to Raz's house immediately. Once we all reconvened, I told everyone what happened. After Chuck filled in the rest of the gaps, everyone started talking over each other. But then, Arthur said something that shut all of us up. He said that before the game even started, meaning before the initial 10 minutes were up, he saw two people walking through the trees near where he was hiding. He said they were moving slowly, like they were scouting or waiting for something, and he'd actually gotten pissed at the time because he thought it was two of the Seekers teaming up and breaking the rules. That's when me, Chuck, and Raz all looked at each other and immediately shook our heads. None of us had been walking together, and there was no way we could have gotten all the way to their side in such a short time frame anyway. The realization hit us all at once. If it wasn't any of us, then there were at least three other people out in those woods that night. One who attacked me, and two more who were moving around before the game had even started.
Dang, how alarming is that, huh? To realize that three people were lurking out there in the woods. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens out there, but I feel like a lot of creepy stuff tends to happen in the woods, doesn't it? Like more than any other location really. That's just kind of crazy to me that a lot of creepy things happen in the woods.
In that moment, I realized how smart I had been for listening to Chuck and not chasing after my attacker. He might have saved me from walking headfirst into an ambush. I told everyone we needed to call the cops. I mean, I had literally been attacked. But the second I said it, Raz cut me off. He got weirdly serious and said, "No, we're not calling anyone." I asked him what in the world he was talking about, and he said he was technically grounded, and beyond that, he wasn't allowed to host anyone while his parents were out of town. So involving the cops would get him in serious hot water. I told him this was a serious situation and worth involving the police, but he didn't budge. The rest of the guys were kind of stuck in the middle. No one wanted to put Raz in a bad spot with his parents, but I could tell that they were all having a hard time just pretending that the whole thing didn't happen. Eventually, I caved and agreed to not call the police and try to just enjoy the rest of the night. I was seriously shaken. I ended up going to bed early that night and left Raz's house the next morning before anyone else was awake. This might surprise some of you, but I actually wasn't too affected by this experience. I'm very much of the mentality that things happen and people have to move on, so that's what I did. Anyway, about a week after everything went down, Raz told us all that he felt bad just leaving those Easter eggs out in the woods, so he had gone to collect them, even though he was scared out of his mind. We all got a good laugh out of that, but his comment made me think back to that night, contemplate my life a little. I have no idea what those men were doing in those woods that night, but I can confidently say that I won't be spending the night at Raz's place anytime soon. Anyway, I'm at college now, and I'm far, far away from Raz's backyard. But being as Easter is coming up next month, I got reminded of this story.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that they couldn't even call the police, right? Because he wasn't supposed to have anyone over while his parents were away. And those are the kinds of things, where crazy things happen when you invite people over and you're not supposed to have them over. I feel like it's ironic that always the crazy, scary stories happen when people come over when they shouldn't be over there. And I feel like that's usually a lot of the time what happens in scary movies, huh? Like, the parents are away and they have a bunch of people come over and all hell breaks loose for one reason or another. But I feel like it happens that way a lot in horror movies and probably happens a lot in real life too. But yeah, this was definitely a creepy story, and it just goes to show you that, even if you think your house is super safe, there could be people or maybe even something supernatural that is around that shouldn't be. And it's always good to just take precaution no matter what. And obviously, if you're in the safety of your own home, then chances are probably nothing too extreme will happen. But, just stay cautious and vigilant. Like, make sure that your doors and windows are always locked and stuff like that. And if you do have woods that are nearby your house, just keep a vigilant eye open because you never do know what could be lurking in there. So I hope you enjoyed my commentary and my music, and be sure to check out the money saving opportunity below to save on regular expenses, and regular everyday expenses, and I will see you in the next video.